was very unplanned. But what I really love is where we met. We met at the Advanced Performers Studio, didn't we?
Yes, down in Hammersmith when it was the first version.
Yes, the very first one. It's at the Riverside Studios, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And we had people like the wonderful tenor Brian Smith-Waters, Janet Fisher, who's a soprano, Rebecca Louise Dale, who we're having on tomorrow as the Golden Age singer, Alexander Learmouth and Victor Scarbi. I'm so excited to be, kind of with all of them and just, we just had such a great time, didn't we?
Oh, it was a wonderful time, and it's great to have made so many good friends at that time and to have been part of the first version of the APS course. It was great.
Yeah.
So much, and so many great speakers too.
We don't know what it's doing now, but we definitely know that for us it was a great thing. Oh my goodness. But it's funny, isn't it, how, we keep those relationships of the people that we meet, because we obviously like attracts like, doesn't it? Yeah. And you're one of my besties. I love calling you a bestie because, you're just one of the people that I know, that thinks in the same way I do, that we're always looking for solutions. We're never dwelling in the problems. Nothing is a challenge. We're just going on to the next thing and we're loving it. So
we can always try something new. Exactly.
Yeah,
so we learn something and be like, what have we learned today? Can we do that better? Right. People, look, Rebecca said good morning as well.
Morning, Rebecca. Hey, it's 9:01, so we're going to start. So, good morning, everybody. I am Nadine Benjamin, the intuitive Verdi soprano, and I am so happy to be here with you on this Monday morning. And I am a certified NLP mind coach, and I'm also a certified high performance coach, a healer, and I'm a professional opera singer, singing internationally all over the world, and I absolutely love it. And I'm here because I love connecting, championing, and celebrating people. And I just know that while we're in this safe at home zone, that there are lots of tools and friendships and colleagues that I know who have so much to share with you. And I just wanted to share some of them with you. So today we have the wonderful Danae Eleni. Danae Eleni is an Anglo-Greek lyric soprano, passionate about education and finding new repertoire, especially contemporary song and Greek art song, but also contemporary opera as well. She's also a mathematician and well sought after in the world of opera and education. Hello, Danae. Lovely to see you. Morning, Teresa. Morning, Susan. Oh, yeah, and I forgot to say, please, as you know, none of us are medics or psychiatrists. If you do need to go and seek the help that you need, the support that you need, please go and do so. And if you can't do it directly, ask someone to walk you through it. We are really encouraging of that kind of thing. It's really important that if you need psychological support, mentorship support, that you go and seek it. We encourage it. Okay, so Danae, tell us, how did you get into singing?
Oh, how did I get into singing? I started playing the piano when I was little, and then my brother started playing the piano almost as soon as he was born, and he was much better than me. So I started playing the clarinet, and he also overtook me in that, and I thought, well, I can sing. So I started singing, and then we've been able to work together since. Like, he can play and I can sing, which has been great fun.
And what type of roles have you done in terms of singing? Because I have seen you as oh my God, what did I see? Despina. I've seen you as Despina, but your voice has grown since then, hasn't it?
Yeah, that was a little while ago. It was a fantastic production there. I loved it. I had to cycle around stage and getting funny looks from the double bassist and timpanist being like, if you come near the end, you better be insured, love. But yeah, it was a wonderful team with the Oxford Philharmonic Orchestra doing Despina a little while ago. Since then, I've done a Susanna, which was great fun, in Cambridge, and also a contemporary version of the role of Susanna, a sort of reimagination of it by Brignall and Metta Theatre in the V&A, which was an amazing place to sing.
Yes, it was. I saw
room.
That.
What have I done recently? Oh, I was also Shepherd Girl in an Everybody Can production of Tosca, which was such fun. It was just, I learned so much from watching my colleagues like you on stage, just like really, really going for every single tiny bit of their parts. So
well, you were amazing at that as well. So it's just lovely. So you've done, you got into singing, and you also play a bit of the piano as well. So you're quite a musician. You're quite ambidextrous with your musicianship, aren't you?
Yeah, I enjoy playing the piano. I think it really helps me when I'm learning roles on my own. And as we know, there's been quite a lot of alone time at the moment. And to have a piano, I mean, when I was working abroad, I didn't have my keyboard with me. So I bought one of those tiny little ones and was playing away. But it's really good now to have something a bit bigger to play, even if it's just my tune on.
Yeah.
When it gets too complicated, I do often ask for help. And it's amazing how many great accompanists are online at the moment and will just, if you send them music and go, please, can I pay you to record this for me? They'll send it back.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Which is really helpful as a singer when you don't have access to a piano or anything at the time. You can still do work, which is great.
Absolutely. So tell us, how did you get into education then? Because that's always been something really strong for you.
Yeah, my degree was in psychology, philosophy and physiology with a bit of phonetics on the side, which has probably been the most useful bit of the degree after all. But within the psychology, there was a lot of statistics. And I've always loved maths. Like I took my maths GCSE when I was quite little, and then I took my A-level early and then had lots of friends going, ooh, any chance you can give us a hand with our maths homework? So yeah, I kind of fell into that role of tutoring friends and talking about maths with people that found it a bit difficult. And then when I went to music college, one of my friends, I went for a year to the Royal College of Music doing a gap year program, which was another amazing experience, but then went from there on to university. But when I was there, a friend said, oh, my little brother's really struggling with his fractions. Can you help? I went, yeah. So I started out like that. And then since then, I've always helped. I've tutored people maths, either in person or now online. And I've been tutoring online because of the travel with singing for the last 6 years or so. So this is a new platform. It's very exciting, video on Facebook. But in terms of using Zoom and all of those things, like I've used that for a little while.
You've been using that for about 6 years, haven't you?
Yeah, I think Zoom came out in 2011 and I started using it when it was free. I mean, it still can be free, up to 50 minutes, up to 200 participants. But I've never had a maths class that big online. Just saying, I'm not sure I have the management of like meeting everyone. Otherwise, everyone will have the answer at the same time.
Hey, Corinne, lovely to see you.
Another of my OPS buddies.
So I just wanted to ask, how important is the relationship to maths and music?
Well, I'm actually looking into it at the moment. Watch this space for maybe some sort of educational opera relating maths and music, because there's lots of beautiful things about form, especially. If you look at the Fibonacci series and then the spiral that gets bigger from that, you can then look at Pythagorean tuning and things, which is all quite, I mean, it's even too advanced for me, a lot of it, but it's very exciting. So I'm going to be reading out a bit more on that at the moment. And just seeing how I can put that in a more accessible way. I already lecture for an amazing charity called Maths Teams, which goes into, it has state educated kids coming in to do maths like competitions and things. They do a weekly thing where they are mentored by, so this is primary age at the moment, and they're mentored by secondary school kids in maths. But they sort of do a competition each week and have to try and solve a problem, and then they have to get up at the end and present the answer to their problem, and then they have feedback from the other people on the other teams. And I just think it's such an amazing way of building a skill set around being more confident in class and standing up and stepping up, as you would say as well. And also like be thinking that maths is cool, because to be honest, it is quite cool. Lots of people are turned off maths at an early age, but there's so much you can do with it. Like everything is maths based up to a point.
And I just want to celebrate you. Hi, Marika. Lovely to see Marika. Oh my God, Marika. Hello, Marika. So I just want to celebrate you, because I remember when this whole situation happened, and you know, parents were in turmoil about having to, you know, homeschool their children, and you had these pile of math books and math education books. Oh my gosh, and you did something like you left them on the doorstep.
Well, I was quarantining because I just got back from far away lands, had to come through Singapore airport. So I was like, well, I can't actually physically see anyone, but I've got this pile of maths books for Key Stage 1, so like really, really early primary years. And I could just hear, like, in the neighborhood, everyone sort of got all their kids at home. And so I went out on one of the local websites that we've got and said, if anyone's interested, these are the books that I've got. I've got some Key Stage 1 maths, Key Stage 1 science, and I'll leave them on my wall if anyone would like to come. And it was so sweet, like the messages I got from people. And you could see people coming outside and like waving, and being like, thank you.
It's been a wonderful time, hasn't it, where at this time where people have really stepped up into community spirit and have just opened their hearts to finding out how can we help and how can we serve and how can we support, and just having that thing where we all think about each other and take time to not just be caught up in our own mentations of our own head, but also to take a loving thought to someone else. And I just celebrate you in that, you know, Danae. Thank you so much. You know,
I'm amazed at how wonderful all these parents are being. It must be so like full on having your kids at home all the time and teaching them online, and the teachers have just snapped into teaching online when they haven't done that before much. So I'm just like really, really impressed with how people have stepped up.
Hey Kaylin, lovely to see you. So we're going to talk about a lovely project that you have been doing with your brother, as previously mentioned, Kimon, and you know, you two have a wonderful musical relationship. Of just finding things that you both love and working with each other on different projects. And this time you've decided to do the Greek song project.
Indeed, so, it's been a long time in the making. I'm sure you'll have remember me talking about it potentially when we did our course.
Well, I've always loved the idea of what you were talking about, and it's just so great to see it finally coming into form. You know, so I mean, just tell us some more about it. We'd love to hear.
I have been well, where to start? There's basically a wealth of beautiful Greek song that isn't performed as much on the international stage as it could be, but it has been recorded, some of it, a long time ago. But when I looked into some of these recordings, I was like, oh, there must be some more repertoire here. And there's some amazing colleagues in Athens and in Corfu, like Dimitris Yakas and Rosa Poulimeno and Kostas Kardamis, who are also really interested in this repertoire. And when I was in Greece a few years ago, I sort of went and met up with Dimitris and said, is there any more where this came from? And he was like, where do you want to start? So I started like singing through a lot of that as songs. And then recently we went to Corfu, and because that's where a lot of these composers came from the Ionian Islands. And there is a great archive there of songs. And it's really beautiful. And for me, because I'm half Greek and half English, so I mainly speak in English. My Greek is okay, but I had my dad help with a couple of the more strange words in translation. I mean, you hear a lot of beautiful German, French, Spanish songs, and Italian song, obviously. But I sort of thought there isn't that much repertoire in Greek, but there is. It's just not out there that much. And I think it might be a bit like with some of the Russian repertoire. It's not, you can't necessarily read it first time round. So I thought, well, I can read in Greek, so why don't I try and share some of this repertoire with people? And my brother, who, like, he's in his own rock band and things, so like classical music, he's obviously still brilliant at it, but took a bit of sort of, come on, would you like to look at some of these songs with me? We're really short, I promise. And then the 6-minute song comes out with loads of really hard left hands. You're like, but yeah, so we thought, okay, well, I love this repertoire. It's singing in Greek. It's a bit like singing in Italian. You've got all of the beautiful pure vowel sounds, but then you've got more consonant clusters and things as well. And I just thought, it's important to share the work of these composers that isn't necessarily out there all the time. as well.
But what's so lovely to see is that you haven't just sang the songs, you've told the stories of the families.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. Sorry. There we go. The Lambelos, the Napoleon and George were these two brothers in Corfu who were like the second generation of the Ionian Society of Composers, and their dad taught them a bit, but then their granddad had performed with Maria Malibran, which is how he discovered Corfu in the first place. He was a Swiss pianist called Felix, but of course the Greeks renamed him. They were like, he's called Efthymios, that is his name. So he settled in Corfu, and then from there these 4 generations of musicians came about. Like the daughter, who was around in the 20s and 30s and 40s. She was writing then. She was in London writing stuff for the music hall. And even some of that, you can hear the odd sort of Greek sounding chord in it. And it's like, oh, there we go.
How important do you think it is? I mean, I know people like Peter Brathwaite, Abigail Kelly, Ronald Sam, because we come from, the Caribbean islands, and we're half English, half Caribbean, and other cultures as well, other diversifications. But they've, chosen to kind of really look at some of those songs and see how they bring them into the fore, and because they're not known very well either. How important do you feel it is to kind of bring that diversification of, your roots and your background into the world of opera and classical music?
I think it's really important. I think that everyone is different, and hence different music speaks to them. But if you've got something in your soul or in your body or mind that's going back generations, some kind of affinity to that sort of repertoire, then surely you're a voice that should share it.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, we should all sing everything. I would not live without my Schubert and Schumann. Sorry. I have a wonderful German coach, Gerhard Gall, who's been helping me with my German.
Yeah.
But in terms of I've lived in Berlin for a bit, but that isn't why I want to sing Schubert and Schumann. They are beautiful poems and beautiful songs.
Yeah.
But why should we bring our own music to the fore? I think it is underrepresented quite a lot in the classical music world, and it's nice. It's not taking away from all the work that people are doing in the country. There are loads of fantastic Greek singers singing this repertoire really, really beautifully. I just want to help by putting it in different arenas.
Yes. So we would encourage anybody, by listening today, that if you do have even folk songs, what I've found is that folk songs are such an amazing way of just kind of being, and hearing the history and the fables and the stories of somebody's culture, that have been brought into adulthood from childhood. That's such a wonderful way to also tell stories.
It's amazing that whatever language your song is in, how the feeling can come across in that. And if you look at poetry through the ages, from all different, and folk poetry as well, in any language, you'll see there's all the same recurring themes about love and beauty and mourning and all that stuff. I think you've given me an idea for the next project, Nadine. But live on air. I think maybe we should launch something like a world art song project.
Yes.
Because then everyone can contribute wherever it's from, and then everyone's sort of sharing that. So
yes, I love that. I'm in.
Good. Okay, I'm going to set up the group.
And talking about language, this here, when I look at this, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's such a beautiful, it looks so beautiful to look at. Tell us about it.
Tell us everything. It says Annexes, which means spring, and this is actually today's song.
Yes.
So just before we went on air, I pressed go live with the video for episode 2 of the Greek Song Project, and this one is a beautiful song by Napoleon Lambelet. You can see where it says Musiki on the left hand side.
Yeah,
he's the brother that wrote this song.
Yeah,
and then Poiesis means poet, and that was Yannis Polemis who wrote the poem.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful poem about cutting all the flowers and strewing them in your beloved's hair, and sort of all the beautiful springtime things you get. And then in the second verse, he's going to become a butterfly and that will land on your lips and kiss you, etc., etc. And there's all this lovely imagery. But the last bit, which is just so touching, and I'm going to go to my friend Lydia Zervanos's book just to check that I'm actually getting exactly the right words. Kjan ola tanti maransun ta drosera su omoskali banda yamena na thenansun, which means, even if all the flowers wither and die, the freshness of your beauty will always bloom for me.
Oh, I love it.
It's an everlasting love song. And the exciting thing, if you watch the thing later, but I'll tell you now as we're here, is that Samaras, who is one of their contemporaries, also set this song. So my brother and I are going to record it later on. And if anyone's got any pictures of spring flowers and things like that, we'd like to make a slideshow in the background of everyone's contributions to those flowers, or any beautiful things that you've seen on your walks that you're allowed to take.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Those in, then I will include them.
Another way of making the project bigger than us. Hey, Gabby, lovely to see you. Hey, Umar. Yeah, no, that's just a lovely story. And I love the sound of Greek.
It's really, it's a beautiful language to speak, and it's a beautiful language to listen to as well.
Yeah.
My dad's managed to get Greek TV, so you walk past and you can hear this sort of all the sounds of people discussing things, which is.
So tell us, there's going to be a lot of people listening to this and wanting to, going to be inspired or in the middle of their own projects. What are some tips around creating projects right now? I mean, I've got some myself, but what are some tips around creating projects that you think, 3 of them that you would think that was the most important?
Well, okay, there's so many tips, and there's so many tips I wish I'd given myself before I started. If we're going to go specific, I've got 700, but in terms of tips that apply to pretty much everyone doing a project, be patient, step 1. Things take a little bit longer than they should be sometimes. Sometimes cameras delete what you've done, and it's very frustrating, but you just have to do it again and hope for the best. Sometimes a motorbike will go past, and you've been talking and you get this thing, and you should probably cut that. But keep those for the outtakes. You never know when they might come in handy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so there's a purpose for everything. But be patient, especially if you're working with other people as well, because as any musician knows that's working in collaboration, sometimes someone will make the most beautiful piano accompaniment part, and you're singing away, and suddenly you're like, oh, I've got a frog in my throat. Sorry, we can't use that take. And they're like, what? That was the best one, and vice versa. So be patient with people, and if you've got people helping you, remember to be grateful to them too. So that's
absolutely. Now I must admit, you are fantastic at this. I mean, I've never ever witnessed an artist that makes sure that she writes to everybody that she works with, and make sure. I've just never witnessed it. It's been, and I've known you a long time now, and you have never changed from that position. Even with email and stuff, you put things in the post.
I try my best. I think, the first night cards, I love writing them, and sometimes it's only one concert. People are like, I didn't write you, and I'm like, but that's okay. It's not. I don't need a pile of them for myself. I just want to know that I'm really rooting for you to have a good show. So, and the same with these projects. I think everyone can create them. Everybody can. And, if you need help, ask, because you'd be surprised which of your friends will give you feedback. So that was my next point. My next tip. Be open. So be open to new ideas, like today, the World Art Song Project. Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
High five, everyone. Please join us in that. We'll post a link later. And then be open to feedback as well. One of my friends who's not in the world of music sent me a private message saying, we really, I love the videos, blah, blah, blah. Thanks for doing them. But I really want to see your face when you're singing. And I was like, okay, well, we recorded a couple of them sound only. Maybe I'll put some pictures in. But then we were like, oh, no, but I've got some footage of when we were rehearsing that song. So today's episode is a sort of side-on view of me and Kimon playing and singing. And we thought, well, let's see if people like that, and then be willing to change with feedback.
Yeah, so that's that thing of around, you know, being flexible, which is especially needed as an artist. And as you're saying, just being open to change. And one of the things that, you know, while we're on this point, is actually when you make a decision, you know, whether it's a decision to stay in your space or to take on the feedback, take action immediately. Because the longer you sit on it, the less time you know, the less chance of you doing it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, okay, I'll take that on board. And then 2 weeks have gone by, like, oh, sorry. Yeah, the series is over. I did listen. I think it's nice to acknowledge that people like actually have good ideas as well. Like, you'd be like, I mean, it's really, yeah, even if feedback isn't what you necessarily want to hear, like,
exactly,
in whatever walk of life that may be in, it's someone's saying it for a reason, even if it's their reason.
Yeah, so, and you can choose to take it on and you can choose to not. Rebecca is just saying, I loved it, and your friend is on point. We totally want to see you.
Oh, bless. Thanks, Rebecca.
So what's your third point? Tell us.
The other thing I would say is try and be disciplined. And I learned this the wrong way around. Like, I mean, look at your bookshelf. It's beautiful. It looks almost in alphabetical order. Like,
but I have been decluttering. Like, I'm in a process of decluttering. That's the only reason. If you'd have seen these at the beginning of the month, it did not look like this.
No, I know, but like, I sort of, the first video went out there, and my mum was like, "Are they your shoes in the background?" So, yes. So couldn't you at least pick them up? I was like, yes, Mum, I could. But she's been really supportive as well, and like the number of times I made them watch the video before putting it live, I was like, can you just check that this is okay? So it was really nice to be supported there also. But be disciplined. So what I mean by that is, like, try and make sure you've got all of the things that you need within reach, and even as simple as putting your folders in order on a computer. And that it sounds simple. I'm sure I have, I don't know how many thousands of files which are unnamed and unfiled. But my wonderful husband really helped out with this. I said, could you please find a photo for me? He went, where do I look? I was like, that's a very good point. Thank you, darling. Yes, where should we look? And he organised a filing system so that I now have audio, photos, video, and then within that, smaller files. And then with my brother as well, we were trying to work out which were the best tracks. We renamed all of those and put them in date order. And I think if you're doing collaborative projects online, what I found with maths teams and things is you work out a filing system that works for all of you. So if it starts like date, name of project, and then draft 1, draft 2, etc. But if you start with the date at the beginning, then you can all find it really easily searchable. So be disciplined and searchable. And if you can make a timetable, like, that helps. I know you talked about a timetable earlier on in the series, in this video series, and it was just really funny to be like, oh yes, so we're out of school now, but if we worked your kind of school-based timetable, it makes life a little bit easier to kind of keep on top of.
Well, it's that thing, isn't it, that, you know, that if you don't schedule, it never gets done. And that if you make a schedule, then at least then you have made the choice of how you're going to spend your time, rather than feeling like time is running away with you, you know. And I love the point about what you make about being disciplined, because I believe that discipline is being able to give yourself a command and then to act on it. You know, that's my definition of discipline, to be able to give yourself a command and to act on it. And out of that, you get freedom. And so scheduling, going back to that scheduling, is really important, because they are the habits of discipline that you put into your schedule.
Yeah, that is true. And then sticking to it. But actually, as you said, giving yourself the actioning the point that you make. Like, it really, even if it doesn't happen straight away, it's there. So like your brain already starts thinking about it. And it's like to-do lists. I mean, one can have, I don't know whether one can ever have too many to-do lists, but if you've written it down somewhere, then it's more present in your brain. It's called priming. Woohoo! Get some psychology knowledge. I actually have a picture of all of my first year undergrad colleagues up there, but I won't share that with you.
Oh, well, it's been so wonderful to have you.
Oh, look, there's my singing teacher. Hello, Anthea.
Yeah, it's so wonderful to have all of you here and to talk about Kimon and to talk about the project. So, have you got any lasting words to leave with us?
About projects or just in general?
Just in general. Have you got any lasting words?
Well, thank you all for joining us on this amazing show. Thank you, Nadine, for this opportunity to
not at all.
Yeah, to chat and to talk about the project, which I really loved making, and there's still more making to be done and lots of cutting. So do watch out for it on my Facebook page.
Yeah, so tell us, where can we find you? Where can we find you?
Well, I've got it in 3 places online. So you can either go to my website, which is www.danaeeleni.com. Yeah. And there's a little thing at the top that says Greek Art Song, and you can click on that, and then all the videos from YouTube come up. So all my social media is the same. It's just at Danae Eleni. So for YouTube and for Facebook, that's where the videos are.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's one place that we can all find you. That's wonderful. Hey, Anthea, lovely to see you.
And people can also just get in touch through there, and I'll watch out for the comments on this video as well, of course.
Yes. And we'll put your contact details in the comments as well if anybody wants to find you. Oh, well, Danae, thank you so much. It's just been so wonderful to hear all your joyous fun in creation, artists in creation. We love it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nadine. And good luck with all your projects, everyone. That's don't be shy, try them. And if anyone wants to get in touch and talk about their products with me, if they're just how did you do that cutting bit, or which camera did you use, or any of that sort of thing, I try and put it in the description, but I don't always remember, so just send me a Facebook message and I'll
absolutely. And tomorrow we have the wonderful Rebecca Louise Dale. She's a soprano, and she is going to be talking about her projects with Ivor Novello. She's known as the Golden Age singer, and I'm so looking forward to seeing her tomorrow. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for all your time and for your constant support. Happy, safe at home. And remember that we're thinking about you, sending you loads of love and blessings. Take care now. Bye-bye.